Pakistani cinema experienced a significant growth and development between 1952 and 1957. Despite the fact that the newly formed nation was still in its infancy, the film industry was flourishing and numerous new filmmakers were emerging. About 100 plus movies were produced and released during this era. Pakistani cinema was finally coming around to the difficulties of film and studio equipment, and more artists were coming out to lend a helping hand in this progress. Out of these hundreds, however, only a few made it to the Jubilee standards, and even then, some had problems with censorship and tried to stay in cinema for longer times. We will divide this video into following parts to deep dive into the Pakistani cinema from 1952 to 1957 and see how it has progressed during this time phase. Major movies. Sassi, Qatil, Baghi, Ruhi Dubatta and Jabru are amongst the period's most famous films. Melodrama, social commentary and music numbers set this film apart. For this video essay, we will be taking a look at these three movies. Loglines. Dubatta. The plot of the movie centers on a young woman who weds a military officer and together they welcome a baby girl. However, the husband is deployed into the front lines of World War II and is eventually declared missing. Following months of anguish and sorrow, the husband reappears with several disfigurements, rendering him unrecognizable. Despite his disabilities, the loyal wife embraces him and welcomes him back to her life. Knocker. The film revolves around a couple who houses a servant in their house. As the couple find out they can't bear a child, the servant gives their firstborn to the couple. Later, when the boy is born in the same house, the attitude of the couple is changed to the harsher tone towards the elder adopted son. Finding this out, the servant tells the truth to the actual son and takes him away from the family. The film Knocker 1955 features a super hit Lori film song that became popular even in India. And the renowned Indian director Naushad was so taken with the song that he wrote a letter of thanks to the Pakistani music director Ghulam Ahmed Chisti about it. Baghi. The film is about a brother/son rises up after being in prison for 9 years, when he finds out that his mother and sister are being treated as slaves in the society, and now he is redeemed Baghi or rebel. Movies by year. During the early 1950s, the Pakistani film industry was still in its nascent stage, and the number of films produced each year was relatively small. According to some sources, approximately 7 to 10 films were produced in Pakistan in 1952. However, the industry began to pick up pace in mid-1950s, and by 1957, a total of 95 films were produced in Pakistan. Principal directors. After the initial struggle of independence and struggle of artists to move from India to Pakistan without any film equipment, it was hard for filmmakers to work in these harsh conditions. But after those 5 years of hardships, many directors were making their mark on Pakistani cinema at that time. Fayaz Hashmi, Fazl Haq, Masood Parvez, Shibati Fazl and Anwar Kamal Pasha were among the most well-known directors. Stars. As the Pakistani cinema was starting to grow and prosper, and the people were feeling the need of entertainment in the country, the likes of Sahiban Khanum, Satosh Kumar, Noor Jahan and Musharat Nazir were among the era's biggest stars. These entertainers were known for their ability and excellence and allure. Music scores. Music assumed a basic part in the Pakistani film, and numerous popular performers created scores for the film during this period. Noor Jahan, Zeenat Begum, Master Inayat Hussain, Rashid Attar and Ghulam Nabi and the most famous composers. Most of this music of this era was shaped and inspired by the Indian films and mostly comprised of Urdu, Punjabi and Sindhi language. The music was mostly classical and instrumental before a reign of pop and rock took over in the 60s. Script, edits and camera style. During this time, the Indian film industry had a significant impact on the style of scripts, edits and camera work. The scripts mostly had a dramatic and expressive dialogue that would be acted out in ghazal as poetry. Edits were simplistic and didn't take away from the tension of the incredible acting of the time. Camera style was stationary most of the time and often included a simple panning of slight zooms in and out. Genres. As the neighboring country was looking good on this cinema, Pakistani filmmakers followed their footsteps and made comprising of social dramatizations, heartfelt movies and musicals. Even though films were not so different from Bollywood productions, they still had a touch of originality and integrity. Top earnings. As the cinema viewership increased, Sassi, released on 3 June 1954, reached a golden jubilee status, staying on screen for 50 weeks. Winner of awards. The first Nigar Awards ceremony was held in 1957 to honor the accomplishment of Pakistani cinema for the year 1956. In 2002, following the 46th annual Nigar Awards, Nigar magazine announced its discontinuation of the award due to the collapse of Pakistani cinema industry. Dupatta won the prize for the best film, and Chanwe, directed by Anwar Kamal Pasha, won the prize for best director. Biggest viewership as indicated by region scarcity. The biggest viewership during this period was in Lahore, which was the focal point of Pakistani entertainment world. However, Karachi also had large population of moviegoers. Censorship. Issues in societies and politics. Pakistani cinema was regulated by the government at the time. Films were deemed too controversial or against the country's values were frequently banned by the government. The extremist religious group of the country deemed these films unethical and immoral because of violence and romance and sometimes alcohol, which divided the people into multiple mindsets. During this time, Pakistan was confronted with a number of socio-political issues, including the partition of country from India and subsequent migration of millions of people. These difficulties were reflected in the movies of the period, which frequently managed subject of relocation, character, and social disparity. Problems before and after release. Before and after their release, films encountered numerous obstacles. Censorship was a major problem, and the numerous films were either banned or heavily edited. Religious groups also objected to some films because they thought it was immoral to show women and romance on screen. Pakistani movie theaters. Lahore had the most movie theater and was a hub of Pakistani film industry at the time. Additionally, Rawalpindi, Karachi had a significant number of movie theaters, from small single-screen theaters to grand multi-screen cinemas. The movie houses range in size. Conclusion. The films produced during this era were heavily influenced by the socio-cultural norms and the values of the society, and they often featured the stories of romance, family values, patriotism. The industry produced many notable films during this time. Despite facing several challenges, including limited resource and competition from other film industries, the Pakistani cinema industry managed to establish itself as a vibrant and thriving industry during its era. The success of the industry during this period laid the foundation of industry's growth and development in the decades to come, as incoming years provided the challenge of first martial law and country breaking apart, which not only heavily influenced country film but also music and culture.